Good afternoon from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. It's 12:23 of the 13th of October 2023. I'm back with a reading from today's journal entries of interest of even date. I'm thinking it's a good thing to not just have them up on vocal media in written form, but have some of my more interesting writings or musings also recorded up here on YouTube for those of you that like to be read to and are interested in how I am experiencing or perceiving the world. So, we begin. 13th of October 2022. I just found out via Yvonne Fine that it's Sukkot. Chag Sameach to all. I am a Jew who is not just ishy, but wishy-washy. But Great Spirit and or Creator knows why. Smiley face. Now, what are we going to do? If I have the phone here, then I can't scroll down there. So I'm going to move you over a little bit. Bear with me. Here we go. Because I tend to write these going backwards in chronology, it's a bit confusing, this one. So I'm going to scroll back, get to the beginning, and then go back to the top to get to the end, if that makes sense. I don't know why I posted them up that way. There must have been a method in my madness. Okay, so this is from 2022, remember? And now it won't go backwards. Oh, this is so frustrating. You get to see me frown. You get to see my genuine frustration with this computer not working how I want it to work. It's 1:07 a.m. It's hopeless. I can't sleep. I am a self-sabotaging schmuck. I have a big event this morning and need to get up at 8 a.m. and get to the city for a jewellery making demonstration at AJS, which is Australian Jewellers Suppliers. But instead I lie awake for hours with a churning anxiety that if I could bottle that energy would probably have had me fly to the moon and back by now. I am such a loser and a failure, and I am sick of it. I have tried come on, why do you do this? I have tried mindfulness, deep breathing, everything short of taking a Valium. I worked so hard on sanding back my staff and a wand yesterday that my hands and wrists are swollen, and now I have some weird pulsing pain in my right foot. I might as well get up and do something, as sleep is not going to happen tonight. I am so sick of struggling alone and being unable to achieve the most basic of things, for fuck's sake. and then a pause, and I got up and took a Valium. I have resorted to I have not resorted to medication like that in years. But I am in some weird, fucked up, hypomanic state, so I need knocking down and out. Hopefully I pass out soon and get a few hours so I can keep my appointment. It was a great networking opportunity and a chance for me to learn something new. Oh, excuse me. For fuck's sake. That's in the writing, not as a response to my sudden desire to cough. And there's a lovely photo of me I posted of me waiting at the train station because I was just so proud of my getting myself up and out there, given how anxious I was the previous night. 5 hours sleep, out of bed, dressed, made up, fueled by anxiety, and pushed myself out into the world. I missed the train, but another one comes in 10 minutes. I will make it for the jewellery demonstration in plenty of time, I hope. Hypomania sucks, and not sure what triggered it this time, but it's only been a week and a half. What goes up must come down. Life is beautiful. I am prospering in my own flowering. Read that as unravelling. I haven't had breakfast or a cup of tea as I had to hit the ground running. I actually wrote, had to hit the road running. Probably will treat myself to something nice to eat when I get in the city, if I have time. Time is flubbery right now. This is a long one. A long, long rambling musing. Okay, here we are. I enjoyed the AJS bush pave cutting burr demonstration today. I would like to buy them. They're expensive though, $1,000 for the whole set, but I would like to buy them, plus GST. But I would like to buy them, then I could start setting stones. But anyway, baby steps, babies. Baby steps. I learned, I'm going to have to open my window, it's too hot in here. Here we are, back in the game. Sorry, I'm with us now. I learned a few tips. Most interesting of all is to use Windex when drilling holes in pearls for lubrication, like on the burr, not on the actual pearls. Just clarifying that. I wish I had known that previously. I don't use Windex as I make my own window cleaning fluid, but I probably have some in my cleaning cupboard. I also priced some much needed and much desired equipment. One lady suggested I join a lapidary club so I could then use their equipment. I told her I don't like to belong to any club that would have me as a member. They all kind of stared at me. I quipped, Groucho Marx. They then switched on like little light beams. But I got driven out of an online jewellery club recently due to the group owner's nastiness, so that proved my own reality to be quite accurate. I am better off playing the long, hard game. Instead of joining expensive lapidary clubs or doing expensive courses which are out of my reach and involve playing nice to bullies or tyrants or others with zero understanding of trauma survivors' issues, size, I am better off investing in my own equipment and learning by trial and error. The lady got very annoyed and told me I would need a lot of support. She stated that I should not have to do everything alone. I replied, I've been doing this life alone for decades, and I could write a long, depressing book about why that is, but why bother? I am happier doing my own thing. Again, they all sort of stared at me, but I smiled back patiently. I keep myself safe this way. It's incomprehensible to normal or successful people who never lived through what I have. She cannot imagine how agonizing it was with my fucking anxiety to even turn up today. It cost me dearly in nervous energy, so much so that I was violently ill when I came home, and I had had a pleasant experience. Imagine if the people had been condescending or nasty. Of course, then I would have gone to war on their heads, so probably would not have sickened myself. Looking back on it, they were a bit condescending and nasty. She commented before she left, I'm going to lunch with friends, so I won't be alone. Like, it was really pointed and nasty. Like, honestly, other human beings make me sick to my core sometimes. I think she was well-intentioned initially, wanting me to join a lapidary club, but when I rejected it, saying that I wasn't ready for that, all I got was condescension. I like how I was in denial about it when I wrote this, though. It's sweet, my denial. I bought some tools I needed. Well, stuff I will add to my tool collection, which will come in handy when I buy the torch soon, Be'ezrat Hashem. That's Hebrew for by the will of God. I need a proper drill too, so that is another large expense. But bit by bit, I'm gathering together all the equipment I need, and then it will be up to me to practice until I get some kind of proficiency. I feel inspired and excited. The only stumbling block is my same old stumbling block, poverty and trauma. But one day, I will have finally succeeded at something that sparks joy and does not attract vicious, envious, spiteful, psychic vampires, like I have a decades-long history of doing. I might even find people willing to collaborate on projects with me or assist me in my ambitions. A mentor, perhaps. The Tanya is often too ambitious and strives to achieve the impossible. As I said to Mark, the manager, I have made quite a few things with a shitty, inadequate kitchen butane torch and a fake Dremel that barely works anymore. But for proper silversmithing, casting, melting, etc., and soldering larger pieces than jump rings, I will need that Smith little torch, which I did buy, but it broke. It broke very early in the piece, which was my fault, so there is that. But anyway, I am tempted to sell my car to buy the equipment I need. It's not like I drive it anywhere anymore. It costs me money and sits like a drive yard ornament. But that is a tad risky. So I will sit and plutz and keep making my dream a reality. And if the dream becomes an untenable, nightmarish, surrealist horrorscape, I will go back to ground zero and begin a new dream. I am, after all, the psychedelic dreamer. laughter in the Sephiroth. Aight. Oh, and the other interesting thing. Did I hear someone call my name? Oh, and the other interesting thing. On the train from Buranda station to the city, I was sitting behind a grandmother with her young grandson, aged about 5 or 6. She was talking to him in German, describing the city and the various stops. The child was replying in English. He referred to her as Nana, which really threw me, as I'm sure she would have preferred to be called Oma or Omi. I wanted to tease the child about that, but decided it would be a tad creepy. I had flashbacks of my own German mother, who rarely spoke to me in German, but I kind of understand why, as I too used to only reply in English. She says she just gave up, but I think she was just toxic and lazy. Instead, she resorted to gathering her German friends together and having them insult or denigrate me, auf Deutsch, because the bastards knew that I could read body language and nuance better than anyone. Another backhanded gift from all the backhanders. So it meant I learned to comprehend German better than speak it. And I always knew when those evil cunts were bad-mouthing me in front of my face, as though I were invisible or stupid. Most of the time I wished I were invisible or dead. Well, be careful what you wish for, eh? That came true for about, 30 years or more. How does one say zombie in German? Well, now the Tanya child, is back, aspiring to a grander lifestyle than the one inflicted on her, one she needs to create for herself, by herself, of her own courage and determination. Anyway, I was bemused when I arrived at the demo and the Bush representative was fresh out from Germany, a lovely man. He took one look at my Slavic Saxon face and I could see instant recognition. I made a huge faux pas when the jeweller setter arrived to do the work of setting the pave stones, and he complained he thought it was to be held at 12:30 p.m. I said, "Oh no, it's definitely 11:30 a.m. and in fact I am still early, so Arbeiter, Arbeiter, Arbeiter." He would not know that I am Jewish, or used to be, now just Ishi, so my dark Holocaust reference probably seemed odd or out of context. I'd actually had written reverence. I'll have to fix that, but it still kind of applies. Little do they know, although it was dark, it was a bit tongue-in-cheek. The Bush rep came up to me at the end and said, "You know, there is a terrible history and it's being repeated again." I smiled wanly. I am well aware of that indeed. I am half German. My mother came from Hamburg. He asked me if I had been to Hamburg. It's a beautiful city. I should go. I said, "No, poverty has stopped me from travelling, which is why I hope to build some skills and a business, as I am sick of struggling." He commented that the airfares are now 4 times the normal price. Power and greed. I replied, "Yes, power and greed. Everything and everyone is just mercenary. We are living through very scary times." but I bought what I could afford and utilise for now. I will carry on creating. What? I don't know. My beautiful life that was torn asunder from me decades ago. On a clear day, I can almost see it shining. I hope it's not another labyrinthine fool's game of a mirage. Breathe, Tanya. You've got this. And the reality is, I am quite alone. I am suffering. The world is crumbling right in front of my eyes. I am not stupid. I am not invisible. But I am trying each and every day to make something of my life before it's too late. Oh, and I made a video yesterday which I found myself telling people to create art, music, food, clothing, and shoes. Today Mark told me he used to be a shoemaker, engraver, and leather worker. So I was intuiting shoes, and it did not even make sense to me. I have to laugh at my weird brain, but there is the validation only a day later. So what shall we create? I think a better, kinder, safer, more supportive, nurturing world. But I don't live in your world. You live in mine. A cosmic blending, integration of Venn diagrams, of belonging, of becoming, of group identities I choose not to identify with, of human cruelties I reject out of necessity. A loner, an anarchist, a psychedelic dreamer, spiralling into eternity, going nowhere but staying here with my stolid feet on sacred ground. Diamonds, literally, on the soles of my feet. Diamond Street, another home I will never own, but a safe landing for the past 19 and a half years. Oh, the irony. On another side note, on the train, the announcer referred to passengers of the general public being conveyed on the train from one destination to another as customers. For example, dear customers, we are stopping at such and such station. I noticed he even stumbled over his words at one point and said travellers, then self-corrected to customers. Why is our government playing with language on our public transport system? What other words are they reorganising to warp reality? I found this quite eerie and dystopian. Because vanity, all is vanity, I'll show you the photo of how I looked that day when I went to the AGS demonstration. Bear in mind, I hadn't slept all night, so I was quite tired. So I had heavy makeup and a kind of a